Fox 17 News at 6 with Doug Reardon, Annie Zatowski, Eric Kostreva, and Jason Hutton.
The family of a toddler living with a rare genetic disorder asking for help from the community.
The 2-year-old has been on dialysis since she was born. Our Dave Keller is in Lawton with her story and more on what you can do to help. Dave?
I'm at the Lawton Community Center where a fundraiser will take place tomorrow for a little girl and her family that has shown great strengths through almost impossible times. For 2-year-old Rylan Payne, life has been an uphill battle since before birth. She has a genetic disorder that affects her kidneys, forcing doctors to do an emergency C-section a month before her due date. Rylan spends 12 hours a day on dialysis, something she has done since she was just a few days old as she waits for a kidney donor. But then another blow. Doctors found cancer in Rylan's liver. She now is doing chemotherapy treatments while she waits for both liver and kidney donor, something that will be a bittersweet moment for this family.
Unfortunately, which is heartbreaking to the family, is we need a deceased child. And it has to be a perfect match. We created this Miracle Makers Gala so that people in our community can become miracle makers to other children. So we have auction items, and the communities all around have been amazing, where they just give and give and give.
Yeah, in addition to that silent auction, the fundraiser will include food, a DJ, and raffle. Now it's $30 per person and $50 per couple. Family is hoping to raise more than $12,000, and that will go towards Rylan's medical expenses. For more on this event, go to our website at fox17online.com. In Lawton, I'm Dave Keller, Fox 17 News.
And your heart really goes out to that family.
Yeah, it certainly does. So any help that they can get, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, well, we all know there are a lot of businesses and restaurants along 28th Street in Grand Rapids, but there is only one, Dan's Diner.
There is, and it actually used to be called Pal's Diner. If you were around, it opened under a new name on May 29th of last year. It's almost their 1-year anniversary.
It is.
Plus 1 day. Our Dave Keller takes us inside for some pancakes that are very unexpected.
Well, this week we found a famous diner from Mahwah, New Jersey on Route 17. Now, this place has hosted guests such as Tom Selleck, Meatloaf, Tony Orlando, Ed McMahon, and the godfather of guitars, Les Paul. Now, I'm sitting in his preferred seat, and you can sit here too because the diner was picked up from New Jersey and moved to Cascade. Dan's Diner, then called Pal's Diner, came to West Michigan in 1995 when a young couple named Sam and Barry Brown had it moved from New Jersey to its current location.
They were in love with the diner, and they saw it somewhere and purchased it and moved it all the way here, trucked it all the way here from New Jersey.
They wanted it that bad that they,
Yes.
at each stop, they had law enforcement on every exit ramp all the way here blocking it.
That's what I was told.
From New Jersey
from New Jersey
to Cascade.
to Cascade.
Oh my gosh.
I took it over with my crew, E and Sarah, last year about this time. We actually took possession on, I think, the 5th of May.
52 weeks now.
Yeah, 52 weeks. Today we're going to be making what we call our lemon ricotta pancakes, which is it's a simple batter of ricotta, eggs, flour, a little vanilla, lemon zest, and lemon juice, and a good amount of it. Bunch of fresh berries with this dish. Little different take on the ricotta pancakes.
I'm gonna pour a little bit of syrup on there.
Yep.
Because I mean, you gotta have syrup on pancakes.
Real maple syrup. We don't serve it.
It's nice and runny.
Yeah, we don't serve log cabin or anything. And this is this vintage. This is 19 vintage. This is just a couple weeks old.
Wow. Okay, fresh taste. Here we go. A little bit of that puree on top. Oh my. Okay, that's not like any other pancake you're ever gonna have. I taste the lemon in there.
Yep.
It's got a nice little tart to it with that puree on top. It's got a nice creamy taste all the way through. Man, that just melts right in your mouth. I mean, that's like candy.
Thank you.
That's candy for breakfast. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're
you,
sold.
You didn't even need a knife to cut that thing. It was just whoop, right through.
Fluffy.
And
Yeah,
normally,
okay.
yeah, so it's the ricotta cheese that you wouldn't think. It's the same thing that's in lasagna, but that's what gives it the fluffiness, right?
Yes, yeah, that's what really kind of picked it up as he was cooking it. And everything in between the lemon, the zest that he had, I mean, it was so much flavor. I didn't know what was going on in my mouth when I took a bite there.
They do that all day, right?
All day.
All right.
Which is
so-
crazy, because something that sweet, you just get it out of the way in the morning. Don't have to make that choice.
I
Yeah,
guess
and how cool to have all those famous people there when it was in New Jersey. And they had all those famous people, and they have it all on the wall when you go in the back entrance. Tons of people you can go and see that were all there over the years.
Fun stuff to see. All right, and that full episode is on our
More
Facebook
on
page,
Facebook.
too.
All right, everybody, stick around. We got more news at 6.
Thank you. And of course, that snow and the extreme cold that we're seeing, single digits there, making it pretty tricky out on the roadways.
Yeah, Fox 17's David Keller, though, is keeping an eye on things in our mobile weather tracker. Dave, last time we checked in with you, he was in Muskegon. This time, you're following along the lakeshore. Where are you now?
Yeah, thank you, Annie and Doug. Still continuing southbound on 31. I've just passed Holland area. Still heading south here. Ty was talking about those snow bands. That's exactly the difficult part of driving down the lakeshore right now. You know, I'll come out of one of those snow bands and I can see as far as the eye can go. And as soon as you hit one of those walls, visibility goes down to just about a football field. So one thing to take away if you're driving out to the lakeshore or leaving the lakeshore back into town to Grand Rapids, just keep an eye on your distance between the car in front of you. That visibility can disappear very quickly, and that can cause some confusion on where cars are at behind you and in front of you. I've hit about 3 or 4 of those snow bands traveling from Muskegon all the way down to Holland here, and speeds do get down to about 5 to 10 miles an hour, and then we pick up to normal speeds once those bands pass through. The salt, we've been talking about it all day. Temperatures right now in my car reads 12 degrees. Still, that salt can't do anything. It can't melt any of the roadways, so just be careful. I know on my camera it looks like you can see the road, but that all is ice right there. So just be careful, take your time, leave enough distance between the car in front of you, and if you have to turn off the roadways, do give yourself enough time to turn there. So from the Fox 17 mobile weather tracker, I'm David Keller, Fox 17 News.
Tough driving out there.
Yeah.
All right, be careful, Dave.
That one looks a little...
Grand Rapids' very own boxing star Floyd Mayweather coming to life in an art prize piece.
Yeah, and these are really cool if you haven't seen them in person. He's not the only champion on display, though. We're going to send it back out to our art prize set at DeVos Place. Dave Keller joining our Janice Allen to talk more about this very unique and very detailed entry. Guys?
Yeah, Annie, Doug, and I bet that once Floyd sees this piece, this replica that looks just like him, he's probably going to want it for one of his homes somewhere because it's just incredible. This piece is called Champions.
Yeah, and it's, you know, like I've said all through Art Prize 10 so far, you have all these pieces that I say, you gotta see it to believe it.
Right.
But this one is, I'm gonna tell you right now, you have to go see it to believe it. They're real life size. They're just crazy to look at what one person can do with a full tree and make it what it is right now, which is at the JW Marriott.
Okay.
So well, let's take a look at it. And what I saw today, James O'Neill has a vision. You stand next to a large tree and he sees things that most people could never imagine. And taking a real wood and creating a real life sculpture of today's champions in their own sport. From a worldwide icon like Ali, even our local like Mayweather. And hundreds of man hours dedicated from start to finish, and every little detail from boxing gloves to different hairstyles, all hand carved and hand sanded. And James says sculpting wood has always been a passion.
I've just always loved wood. Anything made out of wood, I just find beautiful. And when I wanted to try a sculpture, just combining wood and the sculpture just seemed natural. I think as a medium, and a lot of time the wood actually is more interesting even than the subject that I carve. When I first begin, for one day, I'll just be chainsawing off some big pieces. I don't do any carving with a chainsaw, but I'll just get rid of a lot of the bulk. And then I'll start with chisels, and that'll go on for 5 months. And when I get close to the end, then a lot of sanding comes into play. Yeah, a lot of sandpaper.
Now, I have patience, but patience like that is on another level.
I was going to say,
He was mentioning 600 to 800 hours per piece, which adds up to, he said, almost 6 months. And that's 5 pieces
That's a
there.
lot.
That is a lot.
I mean, but when you see that finished product, and can you imagine what he started with to get that?
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Looking at those pictures of him standing next to that raw tree and to see what he has in the JW Marriott is just mind-blowing. It's just one of those things you have to walk up to it and look at the detail of people like Conor McGregor. He had the beard just down to a perfection. It was neat.
Yeah, very, very lifelike and life-size, because it's hard to tell just how big those are from the video, but I mean, obviously taller than us, probably.
Yes, I was standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger and then standing next to Floyd Mayweather there, and the size difference is there.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is Chris Cyborg, who was one of the UFC fighters that he highlighted, came and autographed it, and she's interested in buying the piece, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is interested in buying his piece as well. Yeah,
It's amazing.
It's neat.
Very, very cool. So again, that one is at the JW Marriott right there on the first floor.
You'll see it right in the lobby as soon as you walk in.
Cool. Okay, so you have to add that to your list of things to check out here at Art Prize. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, very detailed, guys, and he's actually very fun to talk to if you go out there.
I'll
He's
bet.
been around.
It's so fun to talk to all the artists, so you have to try to catch them while they're there. But once you do, it's pretty incredible.
It's almost time for lunch. German tradition crafted right here in West Michigan.
So this week, Dining with Dave takes us to Cedar Springs Brewing Company in Kent County to try out a jumbo pretzel.
Well, this week's Dining with Dave brings us to the charming town of Cedar Springs. We're diving into Bavarian food and beer. You can catch us at Cedar Springs Brewing Company. Well, this week's Dining with Dave brings us out to Big Rapids, which is home of the Ferris State Bulldogs. This small town has a little gem there. This family-owned establishment has been open 83 years, and they have a menu packed full of burgers. We're here checking out Schuberg's Bar and Grill.
Thank you for that, Eric. Not a bad weekend for Winter Beer Fest. That kicks off tonight in Comstock Park, bringing thousands of West Michigans to try hundreds of different brews. But there could be some noticeable ones missing, and others may cost you more than expected. Our Dave Keller is live at Fifth Third Ballpark to explain why.
Yeah, this is a big one for the beer community here in West Michigan. And this little coin right here is going to change the way beer drinkers consume this year's Winter Beer Fest.
When a brewery is distributing, they have to register their prices with the state, and they can't change that but once every 90 days, so they have to charge the same price to everybody.
When it comes to Michigan liquor laws, Winter Beer Fest is no exception. That's why the Brewers Guild requires you pay for each pour with one of these little tokens.
They literally had to do it per MLCC enforcement that, nobody's in violation. We don't want anybody getting in trouble, but there's no true monetary value to the tokens, but the Guild assigns a value to that to follow the rules.
And as the quality and price of craft beer has risen, those laws have forced breweries to make a tough choice, leaving their best beers on the shelf.
Yes, we've pulled out all of our beers that were going to cost 5 tokens, just because we couldn't even do a half pour.
Speciation Artisan Ales says some of its more popular beers won't be available this year in order to comply with state law. Owner Mitch Urbentinger says they would have to charge multiple tokens per sample, which could leave a bad taste in customers' mouths.
To do a half pour, we'd have to charge 3 tokens, which we'd be dramatically overcharging. And just the optics of that, when you walk around a festival and there's mostly 1 token beers.
The Brewers Guild understands the frustration for business, but says the goal is to make sure everyone has an equal opportunity to display their products.
Rules are in place to ensure fair competition. Otherwise, you might have certain large breweries that are given a deal to certain retailers so that they can get in the door.
The Guild is following the law to the best of their knowledge and ability, and it's just kind of caught up to the beer movement, and the prices of some of the beers have caught up to it, and they kind of got backed into a corner and had to do what is legal.
Yeah, and after talking with Mitch, he added that they travel all across the country to different beer festivals where they don't see this token exchange, and he hopes in the future that they get rid of this system and everyone can just come to a happy medium. Now, we'll have a link to the event page where you can find all the list of the beers for this weekend and how many tokens it will cost for each one. For now, in Comstock Park, I'm Dave Keller, Fox 17 News.
All right, still going to bring a lot of people. We know that much. Thank you, Dave.
We have been getting some reports of icy roads all morning long. Let's send things back out to our Dave Keller, who's in the mobile weather tracker on his way to Holland. What are you seeing right now out on the roads?
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. We're westbound on 196, and just as Gary was talking about, we're going to run into these kind of blowing snow areas. And as I made the turn to head straight towards the lakeshore, it was right on. Visibility goes down to under a mile at some points, and then it clears back up. And the general speed for people in front of me and behind me is about 30 to 35 miles an hour. So the main thing today, people, when you're out doing your shopping, returning gifts, the sales going on, take your time. This is, you can't stop. the salt isn't reacting with the low temperatures, and when that snow comes off the shoulder and blows onto the roadway, it can get very slick. So again, everyone's just taking their time today. Nobody's really rushing or cutting through traffic. I think everybody kind of gets the gist that this stuff is pretty slippery. A very few spots of black ice that I've seen just up to intersections. The highway looks pretty good. Just the blowing snow and the cold temperatures really just got to keep your distance a little bit here and just take it slow. So for now, we're just going to keep on heading towards Holland here. I hope that it doesn't get any worse than what it is, because the visibility is getting a little bit lower. So I would have to say that my countdown to spring has officially started today. So for now, in the mobile weather tracker, I'm David Keller, Fox 17 News.
All right, this time is flying by. We are in the final week of Art Prize, and the top 20 has been chosen.
Yeah, our Janice Allen joining us live from DeVos Place with Dave Keller with a look at another interesting idea that is spanning generations, Sky's art piece.
Yeah, hey Derek Ganey, I love this because it sounds like this piece, this entry, is truly a family affair.
Yeah, you know, every Art Prize 10 entry has a backstory, some a little more compelling than the next. But when you cross generations and you get things working, it turns out to be pretty awesome, and that's one thing that I found. So let's take a look at it here. Frances Williams is 90 years old, and with all the technology today, you would think there would be a little disconnect between herself and her grandson, but that's not the case here. Derek Brunsma and his grandmother have spent the better half of 3 months together creating this piece, and their families have been traveling to national parks for decades. So they wanted to share each experience in a small painting, and the display was even built by Brunsma after the paintings were finished. And just like national parks, this piece is fun for everyone in the family. And Brunsma says there was a missing part in his childhood that he got back in building this for Art Prize.
A big part of this is my grandfather passed away. He was a painter on my side of the family. My dad's side of the family was a painter. He passed away when I was 12, and we never got to do that together. It's something I grew up enjoying. We never got to do it together, and that was a big part of this in our relationship, wanting to experience something together, to do this, and to find a great excuse to do it.
I really got acquainted with my son and grandson-in-law through this project. We had a good time together.
Her voice is just so sweet.
Yeah.
I could have talked to her for a few more hours, but obviously we had to get going. The the thing to take away from this is these generations just get skipped, and they just everything just gets caught up in today, and things are moving so fast, and we always have these things in our faces even when we're at home, and we lose that connection with the grandparents and grandkids, and I think that was neat to watch them interact during that story. It really opened up my eyes.
It's amazing. I mean, art really brings people of all generations, backgrounds, colors together. That's the great thing about Art Prize. And I love that she's 90, taking part in this competition.
Yeah, and they split those paintings right down half. She did half and he did half.
Wow.
And it's a neat piece.
Beautiful. Take a little mini vacation looking at all those different paintings. All right, Dave, thanks. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Love it. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dave. And of course, we will be at Art Prize through
Patrick's Day, of course, one thing you got to do is wear green, but also drink and eat green. That's what everybody's going to be doing.
Right. That's what you're supposed to do. But at the Curragh Irish Pub, you can get a taste of how the Irish really celebrate the holiday. We're heading out to Holland to check it out in this week's Dining with Dave.
Dublin, Ireland is home to many things, but St. Patrick's Day is the country's largest party. From fresh cod, corned beef and cabbage, packed pubs, to the famous Guinness that's been flowing since 1769, one person has brought that true tradition to Holland, Michigan, and that is Glenn.
Yeah, I've been here 18 years, lived in Holland for the whole 18 years, and worked here at the Curragh when we opened in 2004, so 14 years.
This kitchen has plenty of options, from chicken fingers to tacos with a spin on them, but during St. Patrick's Day weekend, the menu is limited to a couple of Ireland's favorite dishes.
The key element of our menu, and it's to do with the culture that we're trying to present as being an Irish restaurant, is our Irish fare on the menu. That's the reason I'm here from Dublin. I bring the experience, I brought the knowledge with me to be able to give the most authentic Irish food and atmosphere in the restaurant that we can.
Let's talk about what we have here in front of us.
Okay, so the dish in front of you is our traditional corned beef and cabbage with mashed potatoes and then a horseradish sauce on top of it. We select the finest corned beef that we can find in the area. For St. Patrick's, all week long this week, we've been cooking corned beef, about 625 pounds.
You guys are doing it well here.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
very,
we
very
get
good.
a lot of comments on the fish and chips, and it's something that we really try to hone in on and make sure it's perfect every single time.
What is St. Patrick's Day without Guinness beer? Well, here's a fun fact. Did you know in order to pour Guinness beer, you have to be properly trained to serve the Dublin beverage?
We're going to bring it up by pushing the tap handle forward instead of pulling it back towards us. This releases less gas into the beer. We don't need any more.
And that's the beautiful sight of a perfectly poured Guinness, served the same way since the 1700s, and it's available in Holland, Michigan.
Cilantro.
Cilantro. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
That
is
looks
authentic.
fantastic, and his accent was out of this world. He knows his stuff.
There was no acting there. Yeah, it
No,
was
no, that's
right from
authentic.
Dublin. Yeah, it was pretty good. It took me 20 takes to say cilantro.
Oh, 20 sips of beer, then is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Darn
20
it.
sips of beer. Bummer, right? I know. Yeah.
Tough job.
Cilantro.
Somebody's got to do it.
At
Yeah.
least it was
Yes.
Guinness. But you know what? I feel like when people think St. Patty's Day,
Yeah.
they think Irish food. It's just corned beef and cabbage. But there's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah, the fresh cod that they have is you guys got to go try that. I mean, it's good stuff.
That
It's really
looks
fresh.
really
I'm not a
good.
fish person, but that was really good.
All right.
Yes, and the full version is on Facebook on our Fox 17 Facebook page.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Always a pleasure.
Two
Where are you
more days to
heading?
make
Where are you heading
plans.
next?
Yes.
I'm curious.
Let's see, latitude 42
Okay.
next week, and then we're gonna stick to the west side of Grand Rapids. Following after that, West Side Social.
Plenty
Perfect.
there.
Can't
Plenty
wait.
there to tackle. Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Appreciate it,
Thanks.
man.